Hello everyone, my name is Luna. I am currently 28 years old, working as a librarian, and I still live with my parents. My father's name is Vincent. He's 60 years old and owns several tech startups in the city. Although he's passionate about technology, Vincent's work is more on the administrative side, not hands-on. This allows him certain perks like spending his afternoons at home, sometimes taking a nap. Since I was a child, I've been very close to my father because his work lets him be home more often. My mom, however, works at a prominent law firm in the city, and for as long as I can remember, I didn't see her much during my childhood. I grew up not as close to her, though we do get along. And I love her very much. 4 years ago, several things happened that changed my life. I graduated from high school in 2016 and wanted to take some time for myself. I spent 6 months doing absolutely nothing from February 2017 to August. My life then revolved around waking up late, going to the gym, swimming in the pool, hanging out with my school friends, and staying up until dawn watching TV series. At first, it was great. A well-deserved break after years of being a good student. But by mid-August, my dad wanted to talk about my future. I was in the kitchen making a snack when he approached me in the late afternoon. "Luna, can we talk?" Vincent asked, and I knew this was going to be a serious conversation. "Your mum has been talking to me. We're concerned about your future. I know the life you're living now is nice, but we want you to enroll in a prep course and get ready for college," he said calmly. "All right, Dad. I've been thinking about it," I replied. "Really? What have you been thinking about doing?" "I was thinking of studying psychology or journalism," I answered, a bit hesitant. I knew my parents were successful, and I was scared of disappointing them by choosing a humanities course. Teachers aren't very valued in this country after all. "Really? Wow, that makes things easier. I thought you hadn't even considered that yet," he responded, happiness gleaming in his eyes. Our conversation continued, and I explained my interests. Both my dad and mom supported me in pursuing my dreams wholeheartedly. In fact, they were so happy that an interesting event happened at the beginning of September. During breakfast, Vincent brought it up again. My mum was also with us that day. "Good morning, love." "Good morning, baby," Dad greeted us as he came out of the bathroom, freshly showered in a grey blazer. "I have a surprise for you," he said, looking at me. "Good morning, Dad." "What surprise?" I asked, curious. "Love," he said to my mum, then turned to me. "You know, we're so happy that you're going to give college a try, so we decided to give you a farewell to your vacation. Your dad is going to take you for a week in Japan so you can wrap up your break in style." "You're kidding," I exclaimed, my eyes wide with excitement. "Really, we're going on a trip?" "Well, you two are. I'm swamped at the office and can't leave the city for now," Mum said. "We're going to Tokyo, daughter," Dad added. I hadn't left the country until that moment, so I was beyond excited. We were set to leave in just 2 days. Dad left that morning to inform his startup managers he would be away for 10 days. Meanwhile, I started packing. It was quite warm in our city at the time, but I knew Tokyo could be chilly, so I packed some coats. "Forget about those light shirts, daughter. That's not warm enough," Dad said, standing in my doorway. "Then what should I take?" I asked, holding a sweater. "Get dressed. We're going shopping for some proper clothes," he said and left the room. I put on a pair of jeans, wore the sweater I was holding over my t-shirt, and put on some boots. I met my dad that afternoon, and we went out to buy warmer clothes, thicker coats, and a few new items. I was carrying bags of clothes to my dad, who was waiting outside the dressing room, when I saw him holding a few bags as well. "These are gifts for you," he said. "Try them on at home to see if you need to exchange anything." I was ecstatic, getting a shopping spree and travelling abroad for the first time. After our shopping, we had a snack and went home. I left my new clothes in my room and took a shower. While I was washing up, I thought of asking my dad to check out the outfits and tell me what he thought. I came out of the shower wrapped in a towel and found him in the living room watching TV. "Dad, can you tell me what you think of the clothes I bought? I'm going to try them on now and show you, is that okay?" I asked. "Oh, I'm getting a private fashion show, I like it," he replied with a smile. "Yes, I'll try on the ones you bought too. I want your opinion on how they look. I went back to my room. There were so many clothes. I started with the ones I had picked out myself. I won't describe all of them, but one outfit was tight black jeans, knee-high boots, a long-sleeved fitted blue shirt, a navy coat, and a scarf. When I put on the shirt, I noticed it made my bra very noticeable. My breasts are medium to large, so I switched my padded bra for a bandeau top. I got dressed and went to show my dad. "How's this one?" I asked, turning around. "Beautiful, like the others, daughter," he responded. I noticed he seemed a bit nervous, avoiding looking directly at me. I glanced down and understood why. My breasts were practically poking through the shirt. Maybe it was the cold. I'm not sure, but they stood out, and just a bandeau and a tight shirt weren't enough to cover them up. I blushed a little, but found my dad's reaction kind of funny. When I tried on the clothes he had bought, I was surprised. There were some pants and tops, but what caught my attention was some sleep sets. He bought 2 long-sleeve pajamas, 1 purple set and 1 with a floral print. He also bought a long lilac-coloured nightgown and some lace underwear sets. I wouldn't have the courage to wear the underwear sets for him to see, but I had no problem showing him the pajamas. The funny thing is, his reaction beforehand made me want to play a little more. So, when it was time to wear the pajamas, I decided to take off the bandeau. I know why. I also took off my underwear and put on one of the black lace ones he bought, which marked my ass very well. I put on the purple pants and the floral shirt without a bra and went to the living room. "What do you think?" I asked, a bit playfully because I knew the thin fabric of the shirt showed my nipples completely. "Beautiful," Dad said, and I felt a nervousness in his voice. "Very beautiful. Take a turn." I turned around, and he could see my raised butt in the thin pajama pants. "You're a wonder, daughter," he said. "Thank you," I replied, turning around. I couldn't help but notice his waist. Dad was wearing sweatpants, and it wasn't hard to see that the situation had left him hard. His member was visible in his pants. "Are you going to show me the other pieces, daughter?" he asked, taking me out of my trance as I looked at his crotch. "I think not today, Dad," I replied. "Okay, but try on the lace to see if they fit," he told me. "They do, Dad. I'm wearing one," I replied, and then I thought I shouldn't have said that. "Ah," he responded. "Yes," I said, feeling my heart race. I had never imagined having a conversation like that with my dad. He was a handsome man, always very affectionate with me, always giving me support. I felt completely safe in his presence. Maybe that's why, or maybe because I could still see his hard member in his pants. It made me have an attitude I would never have had at another moment. I took my hands to the sides of my pants and lowered them to the middle of my thighs, showing my dad my crotch covered only by the lace he had bought. "Turn around so I can see the back," he asked. Slowly, I turned around, showing my butt. My heart was racing. I felt my skin burning with shame. Even though I wanted to deceive myself by saying that I wasn't, I was enjoying imagining my dad looking at my backside in that small piece so much that I arched it and had the audacity to curve my body a bit, sticking it out even more. I waited for my dad's next order, but he didn't say anything. I looked at him without turning around. I saw quite a scene. Dad was pressing his friend over his pants while staring, biting his lip. Seeing the scene, I thought that if I stayed there, things would get out of control, so I pulled up my pants and went back to my room. As I walked, I felt a small discomfort in my crotch, but soon I discovered what it was. When I took off my pants, I realized why my dad had been so open-mouthed. My crotch had gotten completely wet, even reaching my thighs. But that was just the beginning. The completely wet and small panties had left part of my crotch exposed. My dad had seen me leaning towards him. I was soaked. The day went on normally after that. We were a bit awkward with each other, but soon we got used to the situation. I couldn't get the image of impressing him out of my head, and he must have remembered my crotch appearing through the black lace. When we arrived in Japan, he asked, "Do you want to sleep with me tonight, daughter?" as soon as we got to the room. "Sleep with you," I replied, finding the proposal strange. "It's very cold at night here, you'll see. If you want, we can sleep together to stay warmer." "It's no big deal," he explained. The worst part was that it was true. At home, it wasn't rare for us to sleep together in his bed watching a movie while my mom hadn't arrived from work yet. "It'll be like a pajama party," he said, laughing, and I couldn't help but giggle. "Okay, we can sleep together then," I replied. "But I won't wear just any pajamas," I said, sticking out my tongue at him. "As you wish," he responded. "Let's go, we have a lot to do. Leave the things. They come on." We left the room and went to explore the city. Dad was a great man that day. He took me to a restaurant to have green tea. We walked around the centre so I could get to know the place. We had lunch at a beautiful restaurant by a river with cherry blossoms. We laughed and played all day. In the afternoon, we called my mom, who spoke briefly with us, and then we went back to the room to rest a bit. At night, we would go out for dinner. When I noticed my dad in the car, I saw him in a way I had never seen before. He was radiant from the day with me and, at the same time, so masculine. I noticed that despite his age, he was still in good shape, still fun and gentle, a bastion of security in my life. I admired him while he drove, and suddenly I felt my heart racing again. He noticed I was observing him and gave a beautiful smile, then he rested his hand on my thigh. His hand was warm and firm. He squeezed my leg gently and caressed it with his thumb. I remembered all the times I saw him drive like that with my mom in the passenger seat, and I ended up smiling when I realized it was me who was there that day. Dad didn't take his hand off my leg until we parked at the hotel. We got out, and he gave me his hand, leading me to the room. We entered, and I was extremely nervous. My heart seemed like it was going to come out of my mouth. I had realized that I was in love with him. The feeling was almost the same as all the times I had a crush on some boy at school over the years, except for one reason. I knew that my dad was a completely forbidden man, and I shouldn't feel something like that for him. For that reason, the feeling was accompanied by desire, a burning desire that made me wet my panties with just one look at him. And now I was entering our room on the afternoon of our first day, completely wet. Dad locked the door behind us. "I'm going to take a shower," he said, taking off his coat. I could only sit on the bed. Dad continued to undress in front of me, showing off his strong chest, his thick legs. He was in his underwear, and I thought he would take it off in the bathroom, but then I saw his hands going to the elastic of the piece and pulling it down. I widened my eyes, seeing it jump out, completely hard in the room. I was open-mouthed. "Did you like it, daughter?" he asked, but I couldn't answer. "I'll be in the shower if you need me, okay?" And he went to the bathroom. I heard the shower turn on. In my head, it was spinning at 100. I couldn't get the image of his cock out of my mind. My imagination started to get frenetic. I imagined him making love in that bed. I imagined his cock in my mouth. I started touching myself, and soon I made a decision. I walked to the bathroom, opened the door, and entered. "The water is hot, Dad," I asked, to announce my arrival. The steam made it clear how hot the water was. "Come here and try it, baby," he said. I entered the shower with him. The hot water caressed my skin. Dad looked at me in the eyes and gave me a kiss on the forehead. "Never tell your mom, but I always wanted to see you like this," he told me. "I won't tell if you don't tell," I said, snuggling into his chest and feeling his hands run down my back. His hard cock was pointing to the ceiling and compressing against mine. "Why don't you wash my legs, daughter?" he said, and I bent down in front of him. At that moment, I decided to put aside my modesty. I didn't even grab soap to pretend I was interested in the bath. I opened my mouth and started sucking, swallowing all of that. Dad went deep into my throat and started caressing my wet hair while I went back and forth. I must have done it for about 5 minutes until he made me get up. "If you continue, it will be in your mouth. I want more before," he said, turning me around and pressing me against the wall. I arched my back and stood on my tiptoes, feeling him brush his perfect friend against my arse and enter. "Do you like it, my love? Do you like it?" he asked. Calling me my love made me go crazy. It was like he spoke to my mom. "Yes, love, with force, please," I said with a muffled voice. Dad started to fuck with a lot of force, sometimes pulling, sometimes holding me. We fucked for long and pleasurable minutes until I felt him swell inside my crotch and his movements accelerate. Dad, I want it inside me. I want you to fill me, I asked. Jets invaded my uterus and he only came out when he softened. He hugged me and gave me a very wet and tasty kiss. Thank you, daughter. You don't know how long I've dreamed of this, he said. You're very bold, not even your own daughter, I responded, laughing while caressing his cock. Who told you to be a daughter like that? I wanted to fuck you years ago at home, with you parading around in those little shorts, he replied, laughing. If I knew it would be like this, I would have given it to you a long time ago, I said. Tell me something, Dad. Am I better than Mom? I asked. Much more, love, much more, he replied. We finished our bath and took a nap. Later, we called my mum from the room again to pretend we put on a shirt, but under the covers, we were naked while talking to her. And that was just the first afternoon of that week of vacation that ended up becoming our little secret honeymoon. Dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Leave comments, put like, share,